The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, volume 5, section 7, writings. Every individual in the center of the manifestation of a certain force. This force has been stored up as a resultant of the previous works, and each one of us is born with this force at its back. So long as this force has not worked itself out, you who can possibly remain quiet and give up work. Until then, he will have to enjoy or suffer according to the fruition of his good or bad work, and will be irresistible, impelled to do work. Since enjoyment and work cannot be given up till then, it is not better. Is it not better to do good rather than bad works? To enjoy happiness rather than suffer misery? Sri Ramaprasad used to say, they speak of two words. They speak of two words. Oh, that is good and bad. Of them, it is better to do good. Now, what is that good which is pursued? The good for him who desires moksha is one, and the good for him who wants dharma is another. This is the great truth which the Lord Krishna, the revealer of Gita, has tried therein to explain, and upon this great truth is established the Varna Ashrama system, and the doctrine of Swadharma, etc., of the Hindu religion. Gita 12 chapter 13 shlok. He who has no enemy and is friendly and compassionate towards all, who is free from the feelings of me and mine, even minded in pain and pleasure, and forbearing. This and other epithets of like nature are for him whose one goal is life is moksha. Gita, 2nd chapter, Shlok 3. Yield not to the unmanliness, O son of Pritha. Doth it befit thee? Cast off this mean faint-heartedness, and arise, O scorcher of tiny enemies. Gita, 11th chapter, 33 shlok. Therefore, do thou arise and acquire fame. After conquering thy enemy, enjoy unrivaled dominion. Verily, by myself have they been already slain. Be thou merely the instrument, O Arjuna. In this and similar passage in Gita, the Lord is showing the way to dharma. Of course, work is always mixed with good and evil, and to work one has to incur sin, more or less. But what of that? Let it be so. Is not something better than nothing? Is not sufficient? Is not insufficient food better than going without any? Is not doing work, though mixed with good and evil, better than doing nothing and passing an idle and inactive life and being like stone? The cow never the cow never tells a lie, and the stone never steals. But nevertheless, the cow remains a cow, and the stone is stone. Man steals and man tells lies, and again it is man that becomes a god without a prevalence of the sattvic essence. Man becomes inactive and rests always in the state of deep dhyana or contemplation with the prevalence of the rajas. He does bad as well as good works. And with the prevalence of the tamas again, he becomes inactive and inert. Now tell me, looking from outside, how are we to understand whether you are in the state wherein the sattva or the tamas prevails? Whether we are in the state of sattvic calmness beyond on pleasure, all pleasure and pain, and past all work and activities, or whether we are in the lowest tamasic state, lifeless, passive, dull, or has dead matter, and doing no work because there is no power in us to do it, and thus silently and by degrees getting rotten and corrupted within. I seriously ask you this question and demand an answer. Ask your own mind, and you shall know what is reality is. But what need to wait for the answer? The tree is known by its fruits. The sattva prevailing the man is inactive. He is calm, to be sure, but that inactivity is the outcome of centralization of great powers. That calmness is the mother of tremendous energy. That highly sattvic man, that great soul, has no longer to work as we do with hands and feet by his mere willing only. All his work are immediately accompanied or accomplished to perfection. That man of predominating sattva is the Brahmin, the worshipper of all. Has he to go about from door to door begging others to worship him? The Almighty Mother of the universe writes with her own hand in the golden letters on his forehead, worship you all, this great one, this son of mine, and the world reads and listens to it and humbly bows down its head before him in obedience. That man is really Gita 12th shlok 13th chapter. He who has no enemy is friendly and is compassionate towards all, who is free from the feelings of me and mine, even minded in pain and pleasure, and forbearing. And the mark you, those things which you see in pusillane- pusillanimous, effeminate folk, who speaks in the nasal tone, chewing every syllable, whose voice is and thin is as thin as of one who has been starving for weeks, who are like the tattered wet rag, who never protest or are moved even if kicked by anybody. Those are the signs of the lowest tamas. Those are the sign of death, not the sattva, all corruption and stench. It is because Arjun was going to fall into the rank of this man that Lord is explaining matter to him so elaborately in Gita. In that, not the fact. Listen to the very first words that came out of the mouth of Lord. Yield not to unmanliness, O Parth. Dot it befit thy. And then later, therefore do thou arise and acquire fame. Coming under the influence of Jain, Buddhas, and others, we have joined the line of those Tamasic people. During these last 1,000 years, the whole country is filling the air with the name of Lord and is sending its prayers to Him, and the Lord is never lending His ears to them. And why should He, when even man never hears the cry of the fools? Do you think God will? Now the only way out is to listen to the words of Lord in Gita. Yield not to unmanliness, O Parth. Therefore do thou arise and acquire fame. Now let us go on with our subject matter. The East and the West. First see the irony of it. Jesus Christ, the Lord of the Europeans, has thought, have no enemy, bless them that curse you, whosoever shall smite thy thy on the right cheek, whosoever shall smite thy on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. Stop all your work and be ready for the next world. The end of the world is near at hand. And our Lord in the Gita says, always work with great enthusiasm, destroy your enemy, and enjoy the world. But after all, it turned out to be exactly the reverse of what Gita, of what Jesus or Krishna impelled. The European never took the word of Jesus Christ seriously, always of active habit, been possessed of tremendous rajasic nature. They are gathering with great enterprises and the youthful allure of comfort and luxury of the different countries of the world and enjoying them to their heart's content. And we are sitting in a corner with our bag and baggages, pondering on that day and night and singing. Very tremulous and unsteady in the water on the lotus leaf, so is the life of man frail and transient, with the result with the result that it is making our blood run cold and our flesh crimp with the fear of Yama, the god of death. And Yam too, alas, has taken us at our worst, as it were. Plague and all sort of maladies have entered into our country. Who are following the teachings of Gita, the Europeans, and who are acting according to the will of Jesus, the descendant of Lord Krishna. This must be very understood. This must be well understood. The Vedas were the first to find and proclaim the way of moksha. And from that one source, the Vedas was taken whatever any great teacher says, Buddha or Christ, afterward taught. Now they were sannyasis and therefore they had no enemies and were friendly and compassionate towards all. That was well and good for them, but why this attempt of compel or to compel the whole world to follow the path of moksha? Can beauty be manufactured by rubbing and scrubbing? Can anybody's love be won by threats and force? What does Buddha or Christ prescribe for a man who neither wants moksha nor is fit to receive it? Nothing. Either you must have moksha or you are doomed to destruction. These are the only two ways held forth by them, and there is no middle course. You are tied you are tied hand and foot in the matter of trying for anything other than moksha. There is no way shown how you may enjoy the world a little for a time. Not only all openings to that are hermetically sealed to you, but in addition, there are obstructions put put at every step. It is It is only the Vedic religion which considers ways and means and lay down rules for the fourfold attainment of man, comprising dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Buddha ruled us, and so did Christ ruled Greece and Rome. Then, in due course of time, fortunately, the Europeans became Protestant, shook off the teachings of Christ as represented by papal authorities and heaved a sigh of relief. In India, Kumarila again brought into currency the karma marga, the way of karma only. The Shankara and Ramanuj firmly re-established the eternal Vedic religion, harmonizing and balancing in due proportion dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Thus, the nation was brought to the way of regaining its lost life. But India has 300 million souls to awake, and hence the delay. To revive 300 millions can it be done in a day? The aim of Buddhistic and Vedic religion are the same, but the means adopted by the Buddhistic are not right. If the Buddhistic means were correct, then why have we been thus hopeless, lost, and ruined? It will not do to say that the influx of time has naturally brought this. Can time work, transgressing the laws of cause and effect? Therefore, thou the aim are the same. The Buddhas, for want of right means, have regraded India. Perhaps by Buddha brothers will be offended at this remark and fret and fume, but there's no help for it. The truth ought to be told, and I do not care for the result. The right and wrong means is that of the Vedas. The Jati Dharma, the Jati Dharma, that is, Dharma enjoyed according to the different caste. Jati Dharma, that is, the Dharma enjoyed according to the caste. The Swadharma, that is, one's own dharma or set of duties prescribed for a man according to his capability and position, which is the very basis of Vedic religion and Vedic society. Again, perhaps I am offending many of my friends who are saying I suppose that I am flattering my own countrymen. Here let me ask them once for all, what do I gain by such flattery? Do they support me with any money or means? On the contrary, they try their best to get possession of money which I secure by begging from outside of India for feeding the famine stricken and helpless. And if they do not get it, they abuse and slander. Such then, O my educated countrymen, are the people of my country. I know them too well to expect anything from them by flattery. I know they have to be treated like the insane, and anyone who administer medicines to the madman must be ready to be rewarded with kicks and bits. But he is the true friend who forces the medicine down the throat of such and bears with them in patience. Now, this Jati Dharma, this Swadharma, is the path of welfare of all society in every land, the ladder of ultimate freedom. With the decade of this Jati Dharma, this Swadharma, has come the downfall of our land. But the Jati Dharma or Swadharma are as commonly understood at present by the higher classes is rather a new evil which has to be guarded against. They think they know everything of Jati Dharma, but really they know nothing of it. Regarding their own village customs as the eternal customs laid down by the Vedas and appropriating to themselves all privileges, they are going to their doom. I am not talking of caste as determined by qualitative distinction, but of hereditary caste system. I admit that the qualitative caste system is the primary one, but the pity is qualities ill to birth in 2 or 3 generations. Thus, the vital point of our national life has been touched. Otherwise, why should we sink to this degraded state? Read in Gita. I should then because I should then be the cause of the admixture of races, and I should thus ruin this being. How came this terrible Varna Samskar or Varna Samkaran? This confounding mixture of all caste and disappearance of all qualitative distinctions. Why has the white complexion of our forefather now become black? Why did the sattva guna give place to the prevailing tamas with the sprinkling, as it were, of rajas in it? That is a long story to tell, and I reserve my answer for some future association or occasion. For the present, try to understand this. That if the Jata Dharma, that if the Jati Dharma is rightly and truly preserved, the nation shall never fall. If this is true, then what was it that brought our downfall? That we have fallen in a sure sign that the basis of Jati Dharma has been tampered with. Therefore, what you call the Jati Dharma is quite contrary to what we have in fact first read your own Shastras through and through, and you will easily see that what the Shastras define as caste or dharma has disappear almost everywhere from the land. Now try to bring back the true Jati Dharma, and then it will be a real and soon boon to the country. When I have learnt and understood, I am telling you plainly, I have not been imported from some foreign land to come and save you, that I should co- content, countenance all your foolish customs and give scientific explanations for them. It does not cost our foreign friends anything. They can well afford to do so. You cheer them up and heap heap applause upon them, and that is the acme of their ambition. But if dirt and dust are flung at your faces, it falls on mine too. Don't you see that? I have said elsewhere that every nation has a national purpose of its own, either in obedience of the law of nature or by the virtues of the superior genius of the great ones. The manners and the customs of every nation are being molded into shape so as to bring the purpose to fruition in the life of every nation. Beside that purpose and those manners and customs that are essentially necessary to effect the purpose, all others are superfluous. It does not matter much whether those superfluous customs and manners grow or disappear, but a nation is sure to die purpose of it when the main purpose of its life is hurt. When we were children, we heard the story of the certain ogress who had her soul living in a small bird, and unless the bird was killed, the ogress would not die. The life of the nation is also like that. Again, another thing, you will observe that the nation will never greatly grudge if it be deprived of their rights, which have not much, which have not much to do with its national purpose. Now, even if all of such are wrestled from it, but when the slightest blow is given to that purpose of which rests is national life, that moment it reacts with tremendous power. Take, for instance, the case of the three living nations, of whose history you know more or less French, the English, and the Hindu. The political independence is the backbone of the French character. French subjects bear calmly all oppressions, burden them with heavy taxes. They will not raise the least voice against them. Compel the whole nation to join the army. They never complain. But the instant anyone meddles with the political independence, the whole nation will rise as one man and madly react. No one man shall be allowed to usurp authority over us, whether learnt or ignorant, rich or poor, of noble birth or of the lower caste. We have equal share in the government of our country and in the independence control of our society. This is a root principle of the French character. He must suffer who will try to interfere with the freedom. In English character, the give and take policy, the business principle of the trade, is the principally inherent to the English, just an equitable disturbance or distribution of wealth is of essential interest. The Englishman humbly submit to the king and to the privilege of the nobility. Only if he has to pay a farthing from his pocket, he must demand an count of it. There is a king, that is all right. He is he is ready to obey and honor him. But if the king wants money, the Englishman says, all right, but first let me understand why it is needed, what good it will bring. Next, I must I must have my say in the matter of how it is to be spent, and then shall I be the part of it. The king once tried to extract money from the English people by force, brought about a great revolution. They killed the king. The Hindus says the political and social independence are well and good, but the real thing is spiritual independence, that is mukti. This is the national purpose. Whether you take the Vaidika, Jaina, or Bauddha, the Advaitas, Vishishta Advaitas, or the Dvaitas, there they are all. of one mind. Leave the point untouched and do whatever you like. The Hindu is quite unconcerned and keeps silence. But if you run foul of him there, beware, you quote your ruin. Rob him of everything he has. Kick him, call him a niger, or any such name. He does not care much. Only keep the one gate of religion free and unmolested. Look here how in the modern period the Pathan dynasty were coming and going but could not get a firm hold of their Indian empire because they were all along attacking the Hindu religion, and see how firmly based, how tremendously strong was the Mughal emperor. Why? Because Mughal left the point untouched. In fact, Hindus were the real prop of the Mughal emperor. Do you not know that the Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Dara Shikoh were all born in Hindu mothers? Now then, observe, as soon as the ill-fated Aurangzeb again touched that point, the vast Mughal emperor vanished in an instant like a dream. Why is it that the English throne is so firmly established in India? Because it never touched the religion of the land in any way. The Septian Christians missionaries tried to temper a little with a point, and the result was the mutiny of 1857. Mutiny of 1857. So long as English understand this thoroughly and act accordingly, their throne in India will remain unsullied and unshaken. The wise and far-seeing among the English also comprehend this and admit it. Read Lord Roberts' 41 years in India. Now you understand clearly where the soul of this ogras is. It is in religion, because no one was able to to destroy that. Therefore, the Hindu nation is still living, having survived so many troubles and tribulations. Well, one Indian scholars ask, what is the use of keeping the soul of the nation in religion? Why not keep it in social political independence, as is the case with the other nation? It is very easy to talk like that if it be granted for the sake of argument that religion and spiritual independence and the soul, God, mukti, is all false. Even then, see how the matter stands. As the same fire is manifesting itself in different forms, so the same one great force is manifesting itself as political independence with the French, has the mercantile genius and the expansion of the sphere of equality with English, and has the desire for mukti or spiritual independence with the Hindus. Be it noted that by the impiling of the great force has been molded the French and the English character through several centuries of vicissitudes of fortune, and also by the inspiration of that great force, with the rolling of thousands of centuries, has been the present evolution of Hindu nation character. I ask in all seriousness, which is easier to give up, our national character evolved out of thousands of centuries, or your gra- grafted foreign character of few hundred years? Why do not the English forget their warlike habit and give up fighting and bloodshedding and sit calm and quiet, concentrating their whole energy on many religion, the sole aim of their life? The fact is that the river has come down 1,000 miles from its source in the mountains, does it? Or can it go back to its source? If it ever tries to trace back its course, it will simply dry up by being dissipated in all directions. Anyhow, the river is sure of fall into the ocean sooner or later, either by passing through the open or beautiful plains or struggling through the grimy soil. Our nation, if our national life of this 10,000 years has been a mistake, then there is no help for it. And if we try now to form a new character, the inevitable result will be that we shall die. But excuse me if I say that it is sheer ignorance and want to proper understanding to think like that, namely that our national idea has been mistaken. First, go to other countries and study carefully their manners and other and conditions with their own eyes, not with others. And reflect on them with the thoughtful brain. If you have it, then read your own scriptures, your ancient literature, travel throughout India and mark the people of a different part and their ways and habits with the wide awakening eyes of an intellectual and keen observer, not with a fool's eyes, and you will see, or as clear as noonday, that the nation is still living intact and its life is surely pulsating. You will find there also that you will find there also that hidden under the ashes of apparent death, the fire of our national life is yet moldering, and that the life of this nation is religion, its language is religion, and its idea religion, and your politics, society, and your politics, society, and municipality plug prevention work and famine relief work, and all these things will be done as they have done all along here, only through religion. Otherwise all your frantic illing and bewailing will end in nothing, my friend. Beside, in every country the means is the same after all, that it's whatever one whatever only a handful of powerful men dictate becomes the fate accom- compile. The rest of the men only follows like a flock of sheep. That's all. I have seen your parliament, your senate, your vote, majority ballot. It is the same thing everywhere, my friend. The powerful men in every country are moving society whatever way they like, and rest of are only like a flock of sheep follow them. Now the question is this: who are the men of power in India? They who are giant in religion. It is they who led our society, and it is they again who change our society social law and usage when necessity demands, and we listen to them silently and do what they command. The only difference with us is that we have not the superfluous fuss and bustle of the majority, the vote, ballot, and similar concomitant thugs of war has in other countries. That is all. Of course, we do not get that education which the common people in the West do by the system of vote and ballot, etc. But on the other hand, we have not also among us that class of people who, in the name of politics, rob others and fatten themselves by sucking the very little blood of the masses in all European countries. If you ever saw, if you ever saw, my friend, that shocking side behind the scene of the politics or politicians, that revive the bribery, that robbery in the broad daylight, that dance of the evil in men, which are practiced on such occasions, you would be hopeless about men. Milk goes a begging from door to door, while the grog shop is crowded. The chest woman seldom get the wherewithal to hide her modesty, while the woman of the town flutters about in all her jewelry. They that have money have kept the government of the land under their thumbs, are robbing the people and sending them as soldiers to fight and be slain on foreign shores, so that in case of victory their coffers may be full of gold. bought by the blood of the subject people on the field of battle. And the subject people, well, theirs is only to shed their blood. This is politics. Don't be startled by, don't be starred, my friend. Don't be lost in its maze. First of all, try to understand this. Does man make law, or do men law make man? Does man make money, or does money make man? Does man make name and fame, or name and fame make man? Be a man first, my friend, and you will see how all those things and the rest will follow of themselves after you. Give up that hatred malice, that dog like brickling and barking at one another, and take your stand on good purpose. Right means righteous courage and be brave. When you are born a man, leave some indelible mark behind you. When you first came to this world, O Tulsi, the world rejoiced and you cried. Now live your life in doing such acts that when you will leave this world, the world will cry for you and you will leave it laughing. If you can do that, then you are a man. Otherwise, what good are you? Next, you must understand this, my friend. You must understand this, my friend, that we have many things to learn from other nations. The man who says he has nothing more to learn is already at his last grasp. The nation that says it knows everything is so very brink of destruction. As long as I live, so long do I learn. But one point to note here is that when we take anything from others, we must mold it after our own way. We shall add to our stock what others have to teach, but we must always be careful to keep intact with what is essential for us. For instance, suppose I want to have my dinner cooked in a European fashion. When taking food, the Europeans sit on chair and we are accustomed to squat on the floor. To imitate the To imitate the European, if I order my dinner to be served on the table, I have to sit on the chair more than an hour. My feet will be in a fair way of going to Yama store, as they say, and I shall writhe in the torture. What do you say to that? So I must squat on the floor in my own style while having their dish. Similarly, whenever we learn anything from others, we must mold it after our own fashion, always preserve in full our characteristic nationality. Let me ask, does man wear clothes or do clothes make the man? The man of genius in any dress commands respect, but nobody cares for fools like me, though carrying like a washerman's S a load of cloth on my back.